5, 4, 3, 2.
Perfectly decent toast.
Perfectly decent toast.
That would be the Toast Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to 1, 2, 3. Perfectly decent toast.
Nailed it.
HPV podcast.
Perfect. PDT Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything and nothing at
Mostly
all.
nothing at all. This is episode 3.
Though none of them have been released,
None of them have been released.
so it's really episode whatever we want
Look
it to
forward,
be realistically.
Which episode do you guys want it to be? This is episode 69.
Episode 420.
Episode 420.
I'm doing the jerking off motion.
Gotcha.
Cut that.
I'm smoking dank weed.
Got him.
Just kidding.
Cut that too.
I'm straight edge.
Nah.
I'm drinking whiskey right now.
Sort of crooked edge. I don't know what you want to call it.
All right, so
All right.
let's start off with
Stories from the week.
sure, okay. I was gonna say the question from last week. What was our question from last week?
We could start with that. Question from last week that we sort of answered. What we're going to do, I think, from now on is answer the question from last week and then pose one for next week so that we have time to think about it, since answers were questionable last time.
At
But
best.
what live action movie do you want to see an animated adaptation of?
Oh, I said Independence
You
Day.
did
I'm
say
sticking with
Independence
that.
Day, but you should come up with another one.
Okay, give me a second.
Here's the trouble here.
Yeah.
This is I liked my answers from last
Yeah, I liked
week.
my answer too.
I don't remember what I said, so
I said The Goonies.
Ooh, pick
that would be a
pick
good one.
an animated film that you would like to see live action.
I feel like they've done a bunch of those
Most
already,
of
but
them.
Okay.
I'll say no. Toy Story would be really dumb. Cars.
There's a lot of people driving cars.
But you have them you have people's faces superimposed onto.
Right.
That's terrifying.
All right, I can get down with
No,
that.
I can't get down with that. That sounds like a horror movie.
Yes, it sounds scary.
I'm saying Spirited Away because that would be sick.
Oh, that
but
would be sick.
impossible.
Yeah, that would be not hard. or
I'll
not
say Neon Genesis Evangelion, all the
Jeez.
movies. Just
Straight
watch
Story, 4
watch
through 8.
Shin Gojira and you've got it. So
easy. I mean,
never
yeah.
mind.
I mean, they did a Dragon Ball movie, didn't they?
Oh,
And it was just.
I don't know
let's
what
not
you're
talk
talking
about
I
that.
definitely did.
Let's not talk about that.
So, yeah.
It definitely
Although
did.
wasn't Emmy Rossum Bulma? Man,
I think so. Yeah.
she was my first celebrity crush when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
Crush.
Well,
Huh?
I mean,
Boner.
Got him.
what's a boner? All right, stories from the week.
Yeah.
Stories from the week.
I'll say real quick, Pulp Fiction as an animated
Ooh,
movie
that would be
be-
tight.
would be
Yeah,
pretty good.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. It would be kind of silly, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great though. I feel like any Tarantino movie would lend itself well to be except for maybe I almost said the Dirty Dozen, the Hateful Eight,
A dirty dozen.
a Dirty
Pick
Dozen
one.
of donuts.
I would say anything with Samuel L. Jackson could be a good animated movie.
Yeah.
So the new Tarzan movie, that's real bad.
Oh god.
Wait, there's a new Tarzan movie. This is unimportant.
Stories from the week.
Stories from the week.
Yeah.
Who's got one? Graham has one.
Okay. I've been car shopping. And so today I went and looked at a 2010 Nissan Xterra. And what's the line? You meet a lot of ladies
You meet a lot of
driving
ladies driving
Xteras.
Xterra. Every time you pull up to a stop and you see an Xterra next to you, it's always driven by a woman. So you got that going for you.
Anyway, I thought this car looked great. And looked at it during the day. Then later on, I brought my granddad with me who used to paint cars. He was an auto body shop owner. And
A body inspector.
a body inspector. And so I brought him with me and I was like, isn't this a nice car? And he looked at it and he's like, "This is trash. This is terrible. This has been in like 100 wrecks." So
other
I
car has
didn't get
been
it.
crashed more.
I didn't get it. But I'm going to check out a car in Lawrence maybe tomorrow or the next day.
Was it like one
I've
of
got
those
hope.
philosophy puzzles where they say if you damage a ship enough and replace enough parts, when does it start becoming a new ship?
Right. Yeah.
Never.
Well, I doubt the engine
no point.
had been replaced on this thing, and I feel like that's the main.
So it's just like a husk that's been.
No, it actually like they took a turd and polished it really well. So to the untrained eye, it looks like a nice car.
I mean, it's an Xterra. So.
Xteras are decent cars for what I want to do.
There you go.
That's what you look for in a car. Decent.
Decent cars for what I want to do. Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm looking for a work car, a car that I can work out of that I can also use as an everyday car. So a truck, like, could be doable, but I would have to buy a bed cover to keep all my tools clean. I'm a trim carpenter, by the way. For
If
those
you're listening to this and you have a car for sale in the
Xterra division.
in the Xterra division,
10 grand range,
in the 10 grand range. That's right. That's exactly my range.
let 10 grand. No.
10 grams.
Man.
I'm a 10 out of 10 gram boy.
Well, now he's a 9 out of 10 grand boy.
Sonny.
Still pretty good.
It's still pretty good. That's an A.
Well,
Well,
minus.
Anyway, that's my story of the week. It's not that good, but I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything else.
I had nothing
Next.
all week, so.
honestly, had nothing go on this week.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Actually, I do. I went to the doctor yesterday.
Hey.
Always never fun.
I work at a college of a smallish religious private college in Olathe as a writing tutor. And in the process of that job, I edit a lot of papers. And a lot of those papers happen to come from nursing students. And so my boss and I joke about having a student from this religious private college, a nurse, be a nurse when we end up going to the doctor. Because they're all dumb. And
Stupid nurses.
they're at least bad at writing papers. And so
They have a skill set, a very valuable particular skill set that does not apply to writing papers.
that does not include the English language
Right.
also. And so I went
Really
to the
great
doctor
Spanish
yesterday.
nurses.
And my the person who was like checking me in and checking my blood pressure and stuff and asked me how tall I was because she wasn't gonna put the scale like the height.
She wasn't going to extend the scale. I've never thought about that before. Dang.
I walked up and stood on the scale and then moved to the height thing and she's like, I'm not gonna reach up there. And I was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
How tall are you? I was like, 6'10"ish. Okay, all right.
Turnish. I don't even have a ring.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's filling out the paperwork, and I was like, and she asked me what I do for a living, and I'm like, well, I'm a writing tutor, and she's like, oh, where? I was like, a religious private college, and she's like, oh, I went to that religious private college, and my heart just like stopped, and I froze because I wanted to be like, oh no, this is bad.
I don't feel comfortable in your hands.
Right.
Take
but
my
then-
blood pressure. I might die.
You're gonna make my arm die. Please don't do that. But she was like, yeah, I'm the valedictorian. And I was like, oh, man. And I felt this weight just come off of my shoulders
Granted,
as I was terrified.
the bar for valedictorian of nursing school might not be that high,
Well, no.
but
But then we talked about how nursing students were really dumb. She's like, yeah, they are really dumb.
nice.
That you both
Hey,
agree
good.
was reassuring.
Well, she was like, yeah. I said, yeah, I edit a lot of nursing papers. And she's like, yeah, I kind of imagine that. And I'm like, well, I talked to one, and they were like, well, when we're filling out paperwork and stuff, we use a lot of shorthand, and so we tend to use it when we're writing. And she was like, that's not an excuse. And I'm like, I never said it was an excuse. I just said it makes sense now.
I just use a lot of memes, so I just write my paper in memes.
In doggo
in
lingo.
dank maymays. Yeah, doggo lingo.
Huckleberry Finn was a dang heckin' good book.
Oh man, Infinite Jest gave me a frighten.
It's doing me a real concern. All right. anything from this week, Andrew? Or
Not
working class,
particularly.
fairly mundane?
I mean, class is pretty mundane, given it's business school.
Did
It is what
Pokemon
it
cards
is.
show up?
Pokemon card.
So for
Pokemon
for everyone who is not part of these three people, it doesn't understand the reference.
Anyone who is a fourth person.
Yeah, this podcast is probably not that fun for anybody outside of our in jokes.
There's a guy in one of my classes. He says a lot of real dumb things. We'll have examples of, he's like, what's something you could do for this? Or give us a gift for some example he's building.
This is an economics class, right?
No, this is a class on management.
Oh, management. Okay.
And he'll stand up and just yell, Pokemon cards! And stay standing while pointing his finger high in the air like he's stumbled upon something genius. A real Albert Einstein type.
Yeah.
And then the professor just kind of glosses over that, like, let's pretend that didn't happen as a collective group. And he's like, what's something else? And he'll go, Yu-Gi-Oh cards! and my whole group was just like trying not to just lose it because he might actually get offended. Also, 2 people at that group write notes for him in classes, so they interact with them on an everyday basis, and I'm like, I'm sorry. But
I'm also... Sounds like there's something wrong with this guy.
I mean, yeah. I feel kind of bad about it at the same time. He's really funny.
Yeah. No, it's hilarious.
Magic the Gathering, not his thing, I guess.
He's a World of Warcraft.
Magic the Gathering card. Oh, he's a WoW fan?
Yeah, he really
man.
is.
Oh,
he told
nice.
our professor always starts class and he's like, anyone do anything cool over the weekend? Because it's Tuesday, Thursday.
Pokemon card.
And he's like, well, an expansion to World of Warcraft came out. I played that for like 13 hours straight. And I was like, 13 hours straight? Oh my goodness.
Are you okay?
Oh my goodness. I only do that once every week with Overwatch.
But
What a nerd.
What a
I feel like
nerd.
it's every week it's either like an expansion to World of Warcraft, or it's an expansion to this that I've never heard of, or this that I've never heard of.
You should ask him if he mains his Reaper.
I want to never talk to him.
Okay.
And one-on-one, because
Pokemon cards.
after Pokemon cards and then followed by Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I was like, oh, no, never.
And there's nothing wrong with Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, just
No,
as
it
a
was just,
disclaimer. But,
Out of context.
Out of context.
And in a management class, it was a bit...
right, rather in that
Out of left
context, I
field.
think. Yeah. And also the fact that, like, he just tried to draw a distinction between the act of giving somebody Pokemon cards versus the act of giving somebody Yu-Gi-Oh cards
They'll use
as a
them
gift.
differently.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you technically do. Maybe this guy's onto something.
I mean, no. But all that's really happened in class that's mildly interesting is we talked about non-verbal communication in the sense of management, which means reading where people's eyes are looking, what it means, the way they're holding their arms, or the video we watched said presenting their legs, which made me uncomfortable.
presenting.
Where they're like, if they have their legs open, it means they're being dominant. I'm like, yeah, they really are.
Boy.
And then if they're gesturing to their crotch, that means they're being very
dumb. Did you guys ever watch that show called Lie to Me?
Yeah.
My folks loved that show. It was like, oh my god, did you see that Bill Clinton twitched his eyebrow? He lied!
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, no, I mean, Bill Clinton is a liar. But, you know.
It was like, oh, we noticed it. And it's like, well, I didn't need to notice his eyebrows to know he was full of it. But yeah, it's
to know
that
he was
show.
sucking Monica Lewinsky's dick. Right.
Where it's that show. It's basically centers around this guy who's like a master of.
I'm a master of body language. Oh my god, I'm sort of an asshole, but I'm not as lovable as House.
Is he a member of the Rolling Stones?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he's supposed to be some master of nonverbal communication, and so he'll watch his cop partner, because it came out during that period of time where TV was basically partner X with a cop.
Guess what? He's got the hots for his partner. Who would have guessed?
You could have said the hards.
The hards for his doctor. Who would have guessed?
For his doctor.
Oh my god.
Are you drunk?
No, of course not. Who do you think I am?
But no, that was true though, because TV around that time was like, what if we took a mystery author and paired it with a cop? Ooh, Castle. What if we took a doctor and paired it with a cop? Ooh, there was a show like that.
What if we took like this autistic guy and paired it with a cop? Ooh, Monks.
Yeah. Ooh, what if? Well, he was a cop though.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was a detective.
So it was what we took him out to see a detective and paired him with a cop.
What if we took a mentalist, like some guy who's actually just really observant and but pretends to be a psychic? The mentalist or psych.
Oh.
Or Psych. I mean, they're both the same
I didn't
show,
know that
except
Mentalist
one's
was a
good
show.
and one's not good.
Was Psych the one that's good?
Yeah.
Oh,
Never
I
watched.
guess right. Hey,
What if we
50-50.
took what if we took Ichabod Crane from the Stephen Crane story and paired it up with a cop today? Bullshit. Instant bullshit.
Pokemon cards?
I'll take my paycheck now.
Anyway,
But that was TV in like, what, 10 years ago?
the mid-aughties.
What if we took someone who studies old dead bodies and paired it up with
Bones.
bones?
Bones. Oh my God. Bones. Yeah. Is that a bone?
Well, this
This is devolving. I'm
may have gotten away from us, actually.
All right. Let's hear Andrew's dream.
Oh, so
Just seamless transition.
yeah. Well, we'll put it in transition, I guess.
Let's go inside the mind of Greg Jennings.
I hope that's how Greg Jennings actually thinks. And he gives him a game. I'm announcing an NFL game.
Did you all see
Anyway.
that quarterback?
So, given that I'm still in college, unlike most of my friends,
Collega.
yeah, okay, like I said,
College.
pronounced differently than how I said it. I was up at 2 a.m. working on a paper, and I was like, around 1 or 1:30, I was like, I'm falling asleep. I need to be awake. So I drank a certain Mountain Dew to help me stay awake.
Black
And
label.
then, no, actually, just
Code Red?
regular Mountain Dew.
Oh, classic. Cocaine.
Yeah,
My
That's when I
fave.
drank some cocaine. And around 2, I was like, you know what? I got to go to sleep. It's my first mistake, and really my only mistake.
My only mistake.
But I went to bed, and then around 3, I woke up after having a really strange dream, and I was like, I gotta write this down. And so I walked over to my computer and jotted down my dream, which now that I wake up is not even my dream, but it's hilarious.
So, if you would do the honors.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it, but I'm also going to add some dang music.
Yeah,
Ambience. Let's get the ambience going.
Let's set the mood. We'll lower the lights a little bit. Light some
All right.
candles. Yeah, that's the sound of lowering light. That's the sound of candles.
No. And that's it, really.
Oh, yeah, boy. Oh, can we get that one more time? Without us yelling and screaming over the top of that. It's so good. I mean, it's not
tough
that long.
to read.
It's
We
so
should-
good.
Can you do like a dramatic voice of it?
Oh my god.
I probably could. But it's
can
gonna be
do it.
tough with that laugh. If
I'll
you
try.
want to,
Sure.
I'll start this dang music over.
Alright.
If
Hold
you
on,
want
let
me
me
to-
look at
We'll
this.
probably
Yeah,
include
it
both
looks
of these
real
readings.
dumb.
Crap, okay.
It's formatted like some prose poetry.
It really is, actually. Is it recording?
Let me just start music.
As now. That's great. Okay. One shit. It was a cold day. September. The leaves were blowing in the wind. The birds were singing new songs. Inside, Justin Timberlands hit the pavement. A young boy from Brooklyn, prepared to take a deuce. He went inside, sat down, fear crept over his body, and mostly his spine. What would escape as he finally nestled into his wrestling place, preparing to do what a man must do. A fellow colleague from school re-entered the bathroom
a melee and said with a most tenacious voice, "You ain't taking no shit." Young Malachi was horrified. He screamed to the assailant, "Yeah, I am." The boy moved on. Malcolm, left alone, patted his bottom using the toilet paper, washed his hands, and went on to learn as we go. That's cow.
All right.
I don't know how to say that.
Let me try reading it now, just so we all can. I'm really sorry about that.
That gave me super AIDS, actually. And it gave you super AIDS.
The only other thing that we could do dramatic reading of is an article someone sent me on accident called "Duckling Hatched with Crooked Neck." It's as exciting as it sounds.
I feel like we should save more dramatic readings for a later podcast.
I mean, I'm down.
It could be a regular segment.
Dramatic readings of various things we found, whether it's Mountain Dew induced waking up and writing things at 3 a.m. or articles people send us or emails or just anything.
Or
Episodes of Check It Out.
Yeah. I'm super
What's your
down.
opinion on eating horse?
It's not ideal.
You know, I was actually just
Eating a horse?
I was just eating a horse. I finished up The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis yesterday.
This is a very sudden
I'm
turn,
curious how this
He goes
relates.
into in 2 chapters he tackles some horses. No, he there are just 2 chapters on the human pain, but then there is 1 chapter on animal pain
Okay.
and how it's pretty much discussing like where consciousness begins and like how animals relate to us maybe in a similar way that we relate to God or something,
Sure. I can see that.
because we have this sort of, you know, I mean,
Dominance.
to them it would seem like supreme knowledge
Yeah.
or whatever,
Compared to a stupid horse, yeah.
to a stupid dang horse,
Right.
even though horses are intelligent.
Well,
And so are dang donkeys. I mean, not donkeys, elephants.
Donkeys are super.
And
those are the same.
anyway, I mean, if you eat a horse,
Donkeys.
you got to be aware of the fact that it probably felt some pain,
Yeah.
and that's it. Nothing else.
I'm aware of that with every living creature I devour.
That's fine.
Though I did see University of Missouri did some study that said that plants feel pain.
No.
I mean, that
If
was
I'm gonna
sort
be
of my
honest-
opinion.
Why?
Do that study?
Yeah, I'm sure. Along with a lot of other whys associated with that study.
Yeah.
The argument that he brought up was that like only the highest level intelligence animals are able to like exhibit some sort of consciousness, or I think he actually called it a soul, which is different. It goes, that's not up to the standard that like whatever humans have.
It's not really a theological soul. It's just
No.
sort of a
It's just like a
conceptual soul.
yeah.
Right.
It's pretty much being able to say, I see event A is happening, and because of that, event B is happening, and because of that, event C is happening, and you're existing without or like outside of all those 3 events, and you can see them happening. But to like say, what's a really stupid animal? A worm, or
I mean, that's pretty triggering, but yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
Probably like a chihuahua.
Okay, yeah, Chihuahuas are super dumb.
Yeah,
Okay. He can say that because he owned a Chihuahua.
I did. He's dead now, though.
He's dead. He was a
Did you
bad
eat
dog.
him?
I didn't eat him.
Anyway, to this particular Chihuahua, he wouldn't be able to
terrible.
distinguish between the individual events or the individual bouts of pain. He would just be like, in his consciousness, he would be thinking, or he would be experiencing something, and then he would be experiencing something else individual
Right.
of the something before it. And when you exist outside of the events, or when your consciousness can like hover above those events, you can string them together in like a history that makes sense. But like to a stupid Chihuahua, this Chihuahua, like if you were to kick it, which would be a bad thing to do.
Don't kick dogs.
Don't kick dogs. It would be like it would be thinking this Chihuahua is eating a bone. This Chihuahua is eating a bone. This Chihuahua is feeling pain. This Chihuahua is feeling pain. And then
Go back to eating the bone.
go back to eating the bone or something else. And Chihuahua's a terrible example because I actually think dogs are intelligent.
Dogs are,
This is like
comparatively more intelligent
Yeah.
than something like
we're talking like
a
the mental processes
sloth.
of like a oh no. I mean
Walmart goldfish.
Walmart goldfish, perfect. I don't think Walmart goldfish. Well, actually, but MythBusters kind
We're
of.
never going to find an example if you keep doing this.
Okay, worms.
Okay, worms.
Sure.
The worm is existing in a state of eating dirt, and then all of a sudden, the worm is existing in a state of being chopped in half. And
Jeez.
I mean, that escalated. But
I mean, that's just the life of a worm.
yeah, they suck.
They constantly, their life is escalating.
Worms are bad.
This is dumb. Let's talk about something else.
But seriously, would you eat a horse?
If someone just offer it, who's offering me this horse?
Let's
meat?
say you went to Johnny's
Tavern.
and Johnny's Tavern and didn't get wings, and they were like, "Try our new horse burger."
Which waitress is it?
Not the one from the time we went 3 days in a row.
Okay.
You and I went 3 days ago. Grandma.
I want
I want
to
to confess that. Okay, let's say you go to Applebee's.
If it's horse
And-
meat from the bees, I ain't taking
Yeah, I'm
it.
not taking it.
Actually, that's fair. Let's say you go
Ruth's
to
Chris Steakhouse.
Let's say you go to Hereford House.
Okay.
There it is.
Go to Hereford House, and they say we have cow, we have bison, and we have horse.
I'm trying it.
We can make you a horse burger. You want to try it?
I'm trying it.
I would say. How does it taste?
I don't know.
Good.
Oh,
I've never tried
the
a horse.
server would
If,
say.
if
oh,
they
I'm
say
sure
it
it's
tastes great,
Oh,
okay. If they say it tastes fine,
Yeah. Here's another question.
you never
Would you?
answered it.
Oh, I would eat it.
okay.
Would you eat a human burger?
No.
Okay, why?
It depends.
Okay.
But
Now we're talking.
do I know it's human?
Yeah.
Good.
Is there any consequence from me eating it?
I mean, other than living with the guilt that you've eaten human flesh, no.
Well, but like, is this a like consequenceless area?
Right.
where the
It
guy-
wasn't. It wasn't like they
someone
farmed.
murdered him.
It wasn't like
and
they
then
farmed humans or something. It was like
Oh, that's.
this is just this guy died.
He donated his meat.
He donated his
To a
body
restaurant.
to restaurants instead of science.
I would not, because I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
With the idea of donating my
Okay.
body to not
I'm-
science, just a restaurant.
I'm kind of uncomfortable with it. I'm probably less uncomfortable than I should be.
I don't think that. Well, I mean,
If there's literally no consequence to it, like unless, like if I don't get sick from it, if there's
well, no, you wouldn't get sick. You wouldn't get the hunger. You wouldn't
Right.
get like.
if there's no like criminal consequence, no financial consequence,
No.
and I don't get sick from
This
it.
is just an alternate
I
reality.
might try it.
I think I would try it. Like, if I mean, I hate to just admit to like cannibalism on
you
the
haven't.
PDT podcast,
Cod-
but like
Codcast.
God,
Here we talk about fish.
no, Call of Donkey.
Yeah.
But where, like, what's the
Where do we draw the line?
where's the lawn drawn?
Oh,
The
PETA.
lawn drawn, somewhere in the middle.
PETA's not a good example of anything. So
Well, I didn't ever even bring up the example of PETA. I think
No, I
you
know.
just did that.
the "Where do you draw the line" is a reference to a billboard.
Oh, is that one of their
PETA.
slogans or something?
Yeah.
Well, it's like a billboard where it's like this list of animals, and it's like, where do you draw the line?
Well, that's also kind of a valid question. Like, if you really think about it, like, I mean, I would have no problem eating plants. Those are technically living things.
I wouldn't eat a dog. I wouldn't eat a cat. I probably wouldn't eat a chimp.
I wouldn't eat something.
So you
primate
wouldn't
with
eat
thumbs.
human meat.
In
If I'm gonna be
this
honest-
dimension, no.
If it's got thumbs, I'm not eating it. It feels
Yeah.
bad.
Okay.
That being said,
And-
I'm not ideally looking to eat cat or dog because
I mean, I'm
I'm
not either.
emotionally attached to both of those.
Right. It's all about like what we give names to, sort of. Like when you
Little
give
bit.
I mean that pretty much is what it boils down to. Like we've domesticated dogs. We understand them.
Domesticated virtually every animal in some respect.
Well, sure.
We super domesticated cheetahs, but I'd still try it.
I mean, we've very domesticated cows. There used to be a breed of cow that was carnivorous, and there used to be another breed of cow that was like gigantic and aggressive.
There also used to be cows that were intelligent, and then we were like, let's keep breeding stupid ones. They're easier to keep track of, and now all cows are stupid.
Yeah.
On what level though? Like I feel like cows are probably more intelligent than like.
No, cows are really dumb.
No, like having visited my parents who were my grandparents were beef farmers. If there's not a bull in the field, there's nothing that keeps us from just walking out there and being like, I'm amongst all these cows. They hardly notice I'm there. They're like, oh, here's some grass. It's like you were saying earlier. This cow is eating grass. This cow is eating grass. This cow's taking a dump. This cow's eating more grass. That's their whole life.
They don't draw like parallel, or they don't draw lines between experiences.
They're like, oh, the only thing they have other than this cow's eating grass and this cow's pooping or peeing or getting water is, hey, look, there's that farmer. He brings me more food.
Right. Which is less of like a reaction and more just like training.
Where it's weird to think that cows are that way, but oddly enough, bulls, even though they're still kind of cows in a way, seem to be smarter and really terrifying.
They're male, so.
Got 'em. We'll edit that out. Don't worry.
No, we'll leave it in.
We'll leave it in.
We talked
Women's,
about that. We talked about that a little bit in linguistics class because we talked about all these animals that learn sign language, which I think is mostly just
training.
Yeah, it's mostly training because humans are pretty much we're the only species that would actively create language.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that we have English, and if we wanted to, we could create another language. We create words all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas animals have language because they can communicate, but it's
on
less,
some level.
But they don't talk about their language. They don't say, "Oh, this is a subject, this is a verb."
Right. They're not. That's the like self-awareness.
Right. They have very little abstraction.
Yeah.
And so things like chimpanzees, they can learn how to sign in some regard. There was a chimpanzee that learned something like 100 different signs.
Was it Coco? No, that was a gorilla. Yeah, that's right.
Also smart, but still trained.
Right. But it was like... And so we watched this video of this chimpanzee helping this woman in the kitchen. And she would like sign to him being like, go get the onions, go get this, go get that. And it's like, okay, he just associates this sign with onion.
Well, I feel like if there's a do this, get reward system, it's training.
Right.
Where like I can get my dog to answer to come here by motioning with my hand and not saying any words, and it's like, oh, I should go over there because I might get something out of that.
Right.
Then it's training. Whereas like there's a difference between doing that and me motioning to my dog and then going, I'm gonna go over there because that's kind of what we all want.
Right.
There's a difference between communication and being like, that translates to me getting what I want.
Right.
But there's also, I think, I have to look this up exactly, and I could do it because I'm on a computer right now, but I'm not going to. But I think there's some evidence of like, I forget if it's gorillas or what, but like creating, they have terms, right? And they actually put them together in like creative sentences, not like I'm saying they're like creating poetry, but it's like, oh, something died, now I am sad, or like,
well, I think you see some of that with whales. I think
whales are super intelligent. I think.
People have sort of deciphered a little bit of whale song to understand like different frequencies in their song mean different moods, and that they can even, from what I understand, they can even they can tell where a whale is from because they sing in a different frequency depending on
like dialects or something.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Basically. So it's like if they're from this part of the ocean, they use this frequency to communicate. If they're from this part of the ocean, they communicate in this frequency, and so they can even alter their frequency depending on who they're talking to, stuff like that.
Mm.
And I think it's bonobos that have sort of like symbols and some minor abstraction of like, I am feeling this. But for the most part, that's pretty much the only limit there is. It's less of like, it's mostly body language. Like when we communicate that we're sad, we have the capacity of saying we are sad,
Yeah.
and we have body language.
It's like
mixed with
there are
that.
the levels of abstraction
Right.
there.
We can talk about how sad we are, whether we're sad or depressed or sort of bummed. We can talk about why we're sad. We can talk about
We can talk about the words we use to describe the sadness.
right. We can talk about all of that because we
Yeah.
have this ability to communicate abstractly and talk about abstract things. But for the most part, animals don't have that
Right.
because they're dumb.
Yeah,
Or
you have
than
to
we
draw
are.
the line where you would determine how much intelligence equals, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
like-
I think it's really probably impossible to tell, like, conclusively much of anything about any of this.
Like,
This is all just conjecture.
I'm not
Yeah,
looking
for
to
the
eat
most part.
whales, not looking to eat an octopus anytime soon.
No, octopus is gross.
I mean,
I mean,
largely
octopus
it's
isn't
gross.
that bad, but they're
Also,
really smart too.
They're really smart.
Have you seen that video of an octopus getting out of it? It's like getting out of a tank
Yes.
No.
because they use this little hole to feed it in the side of the tank, and it basically waits for it to be open, and then like quickly just like shrinks down and slips out
Dude.
into another tank.
Those animals are crazy.
Yeah.
Those things are
Yeah,
insane.
they're
there's
scary
a-
smart.
Oh, what was it? I think it's like a type of eel or something that lives in dirt and camouflages itself.
Dirt.
Right.
Wow.
In the bottom of the ocean. And so when a zoo got a bunch of fish, they took some dirt, thinking that it's going to be like, oh, it'll be familiar to them, they'll acclimate a little better. They accidentally took one of these eels. And it's terrifying. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically like this giant eel with just giant teeth and big hook
Ugh.
teeth on its sides.
Scary.
But they accidentally brought it to their aquarium and then noticed that their fish were going missing. And then finally caught this thing, grabbing a fish and dragging it into the ground. And
That's
they're like, well, this is bad.
Did you ever see that movie Drag Me to Hell?
No.
Oh man, as a fish. That's what that's got to be like.
I'm going to see if I can find...
Yeah, on the notice, same thing with like intelligence in other animals. With the octopus again, there's a video of one getting on the side of a boat and kind of scaling its way up slowly with tentacles and little suction cups. Getting up, and when someone tries to shoot it with a like harpoon gun or whatever on the top of a yacht, I don't know why. The octopus actually ends up grabbing the gun later, and it just kind of tosses it
Oh,
overboard.
tight.
Oh, man.
And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
that's really cool, but I'm a little scared.
That's a horror movie, I believe.
I don't know, let's grab an harpoon gun.
Bobbit worm?
Hobbit worm?
Yeah. Keep going.
I don't know why I'm motioning that. We probably ought to wrap up soon.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. We're getting close up to an hour. So
Wow.
Okay.
And we'll
This
edit
is
it down
a
quite a bit.
bobbit worm.
Ooh, oh boy! Say the question and be like, da-da-da-da-da-da. And disappear forever.
I think we could just do.
they never air it.
We'll ask it and then maybe converse, but edit it out and then give answers next week.
Sure.
Okay.
Why
Do you have one?
not? No, I'm unprepared.
So this one. Well, we did one about movies last week. What? Actually, how about this? If you could take a piece of modern technology and take it back in time to a different era, what would the piece of technology? What would the piece of technology be? When would you take it and why?
Okay. Restate that question because we're gonna have to edit that out. Sorry.
If you were to, if you could take one piece of modern technology and take it back in time to any era, so it could be a decade, it could be an era, it could be whatever. what piece of modern technology would you take? Why would you take it? Or when would you take it, and why would you take it?
How big is the limit on this technology? Like, does it have to
like-
be really specific?
Not like a space shuttle.
Right, but
Does
could
it
it be
have to
like a laptop?
Yeah.
Something that you can
Which
carry, or
would
can it
kind of be
large?
useless before the internet. I mean, not exactly.
You
Like,
could
you
run
could play games on
Word.
it. Right.
And that pinball game.
Right, that pinball game would
sick.
be tight.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin.
I'll say anything that you can carry alone.
Okay,
Shoot.
cool. That's cool.
I was gonna say the printing press.
To like Mesozoic era.
Dude, not quite that far back, but later people could write more down,
Oh sure.
leave less to mystery.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good answer.
Because history is actually interesting,
Yeah.
but
That's actually much more of a serious answer than I was expecting.
yeah.
I like that answer.
But I would say
Or at the very least,
that's
like,
not modern technology.
Paper
Yeah.
making? Oh, modern technology.
Right.
Oh, then a printer and Word.
Microsoft Word. So a laptop and a printer.
Yeah. So they can print
Ooh,
like two
you know what?
documents for
I might-
power.
Adding to that, well, I guess it would all fit on a laptop, but some sort of like translation.
Google
Way too
Translate.
complicated.
Complimented,
Same.
yeah.
I'd take PowerPoint.
I
People
know.
would realize how pointless PowerPoint is long before it gets to my time.
I feel like there is some merit into recording software, like audio recording,
Oh yeah,
and then like a camera.
right.
Because especially when it comes to like even just language, we have a ton of languages that we just don't know because like we assume they exist because it's like, well, they communicated some way, but we know this language didn't exist until this point, so it's some language that we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
But if you like took a picture of a written language or recorded someone speaking, like we can
Now,
sort
is
of
this
reverse that into an actual language.
this is involving you like taking the technology, also explaining it to them, and assuming that they understand?
It
How it
doesn't need
works
to be.
at that point?
You can bring it for whatever purpose you want.
Okay.
So if you want to bring a nuclear bomb and drop it on the dinosaurs, go for it.
I think that was already done.
You're an asshole.
I think it was already done. Really.
Yeah, it was time travelers
Right.
and news. If you want to take
If you want to learn more about that, watch Legends of Tomorrow on Bad TV.
Don't do that.
Don't
Oh.
actually do it.
Bad
I watch it, and it's
TV.
my least favorite part about myself.
I gotta pee.
or you could bring
A nuke to World
you could
War
bring
II.
Harry Potter audiobooks.
The U.S. already did that.
and,
Yeah, same.
You could bring Harry Potter audiobooks and give them to J.K. Rowling.
And she'd be like, "Oh, this is garbage."
She'd be like, "Oh, who wrote this?" I'll be like,
You just wait 10 years.
Just give it time.
"Yeah, we're talking about cuneiform."
We ate this whole bag of Hostess donuts tonight.
Yeah, none of this is gonna stay after. That's your name, bitch.